In 1587, a group of over 100 English settlers vanished without a trace from the shores of North America. The only clue left behind was a single word carved into a post: Croatoan. What happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? Was it a massacre, a secret escape, or something more chilling? Despite centuries of research, historians, archaeologists, and scientists have found no definitive answer. The mystery of the Roanoke colony has captured imaginations for generations, but after hundreds of years, the question remains: did they simply disappear, or did they leave behind a clue to a greater secret? Theories abound, but the truth seems just out of reach. Could there be something we're overlooking? Could the answers be buried in the very land where they once lived? Stick around as we unravel the most puzzling mystery of America's first colony and dive into a story that might just change everything we know about history. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video. It helps more than you think, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The year is 1585. England's Queen Elizabeth I, eager to expand her empire across the seas, authorizes an ambitious mission to establish a new colony in the Americas. The chosen spot? A place along the North Carolina coast, a region that's rich in resources and unexplored by English settlers. The expedition is led by Sir Walter Raleigh, an adventurer and military man, who dreams of turning this distant land into a prosperous English settlement. On the surface, the plan seems simple: send a group of settlers to this new world to build a thriving colony. But the reality is far more complex. The settlers, numbering 100 or more, face immediate struggles. They battle harsh weather, unpredictable seas, and an unfamiliar landscape. Tensions also rise with the local Native American tribes, who see the newcomers as threats to their land and way of life. The first attempt at settling, known as the Raleigh Colony, ends in disaster. Supplies run low, and after barely a year, the settlers are forced to return to England. But Raleigh isn't ready to give up. In 1587, a second attempt is launched, this time with even more hope and ambition. The settlers are to establish a permanent colony, the first of its kind in the New World. But this time, something would go terribly wrong. The second group of settlers, led by John White, arrive in the summer of 1587. Among them are men, women, and children, all determined to make a new life in the vast, unknown wilderness. The site they choose is Roanoke Island, surrounded by waterways that offer protection and access to resources. At first, things appear to go according to plan. Crops are planted, shelters are built, and some trade is established with local Native American tribes. But beneath this outward calm, problems quickly begin to mount. Supplies from England are delayed, and the settlers find themselves struggling to feed themselves. The harsh summer weather turns into a brutal winter, and the colony is caught in a constant battle for survival. As tensions rise, White's leadership is questioned, and cracks start to form within the colony. But there's one looming problem that overshadows everything. The settlers need more supplies. And soon. With his colony in jeopardy, White makes a difficult decision. He must return to England for reinforcements. He leaves behind his daughter, son-in-law, and granddaughter, along with a small group of settlers, promising to return as quickly as possible. But what happens next? No one could have predicted. John White's journey back to England is far from quick. Political tensions, war with Spain, and supply shortages delay his return for 3 long years. When he finally returns to Roanoke Island in 1590, he is met with an unsettling silence. The once thriving colony is gone, the settlement abandoned. There are no signs of a struggle or any survivors, but everything is eerily untouched. The homes, crops, and structures are left standing, as though the settlers had simply vanished in the blink of an eye. The only clue to what happened is a single word carved into a tree: Croatoan. It's the name of a nearby island and a tribe of Native Americans who had been known to interact with the settlers. But there's no explanation, no bodies, no letters, no clear signs of what became of the people White had left behind. White immediately searches the surrounding area, but there is no trace of the settlers. The mystery deepens. Did they leave willingly, perhaps seeking shelter or refuge with the Croatoans? Or did something far more sinister occur? The unanswered questions gnaw at White, but he has no choice but to return to England once again, leaving the mystery unsolved. The disappearance of the Roanoke colony is not just a historical curiosity. It's a puzzle that has haunted researchers, archaeologists, and historians for centuries. The word Croatoan carved into a tree, along with the absence of any bodies or signs of violence, has led to countless theories. What does it really mean? For decades, this simple inscription has been the key to the mystery, offering the only potential lead in an otherwise barren landscape of evidence. The first theory that comes to mind is that the settlers left of their own accord, seeking refuge on Croatoan Island. Perhaps they were struggling to survive, and the word Croatoan was a message, either to other English settlers or to John White, that they had relocated. But there's one glaring issue with this theory. Croatoan Island was not far from Roanoke, and yet, when White arrived in 1590, he found no trace of the settlers there. Why would they not have left more obvious signs if they had indeed moved? Some researchers speculate that the settlers were forcibly taken by the Native Americans. The Croatoans had a history of interactions with the English, some positive, others less so. Could the settlers have been attacked and their disappearance the result of violence? This theory, however, is complicated by the absence of any signs of a violent struggle. No broken tools, no bloodstains, no bodies. And what about the possibility of assimilation? Could the settlers have integrated into the Croatoan tribe, adopting their ways and blending into the local population? As intriguing as this theory is, there's one major obstacle. No records of the settlers' existence in later interactions with the Croatoans. Over the centuries, the disappearance of the Roanoke colony has spawned an array of theories, some more grounded in reality, others more fantastical. But despite the variety of ideas, one thing remains constant: the eerie silence that surrounds the fate of these settlers. With so few clues, historians have been left to speculate wildly. One of the most popular theories is that the settlers were victims of a violent attack by a rival Native American tribe. It's not out of the question, considering the tensions between the English and local tribes. The settlers might have been overwhelmed by a larger force, and their homes looted and destroyed. However, again, the lack of any human remains or signs of a violent battle makes this theory difficult to prove. Where are the bodies? Another possibility is that the settlers perished due to starvation or disease. The island's resources were limited, and after 3 years of isolation, the settlers may have simply died off. This would explain the absence of physical evidence of foul play. Yet, how do you explain the carving of Croatoan if they were simply victims of nature? Then there's the theory of mass migration, where the settlers, facing hardship, decided to leave and integrate with other tribes, perhaps even becoming part of the Croatoan people. While there are stories from later years suggesting the presence of English-speaking Native Americans, no solid evidence has ever confirmed this idea. And then, of course, there are the wilder theories. Some believe the settlers were taken by extraterrestrials. While there's no real evidence to support this, it certainly adds an element of intrigue. The Roanoke mystery is more than just a historical enigma. It's an archaeological treasure hunt that has persisted for centuries. As time has passed, countless expeditions have scoured Roanoke Island and the surrounding areas, hoping to uncover a lost artifact or a single piece of evidence that will finally explain what happened to the settlers. But despite all these efforts, the answers remain elusive. In recent years, advances in technology have given new hope to researchers. Ground-penetrating radar, drones, and sophisticated excavation techniques have allowed archaeologists to search deeper than ever before. In the 1990s, for example, a team of researchers began investigating a site known as the Lost Colony Site, believed to be where the original settlement once stood. They uncovered pottery, tools, and even the remnants of a structure. However, no clear evidence of the settlers' fate was found, just more unanswered questions. In the 2000s, a new generation of explorers turned their attention to Croatoan Island. The theory that the settlers may have relocated there has kept many researchers returning to the island, hoping to find evidence of an English presence among the Croatoan tribe. In 2016, a team of archaeologists found signs of European-style tools, which seemed to support the idea that the settlers may have assimilated with the Native Americans. But once again, nothing conclusive emerged to solve the mystery. The archaeological hunt continues, but with each new discovery, the questions only seem to grow deeper. The mystery of the Roanoke colony has become more than just a historical puzzle. It's a legend that has lived on in popular culture, from books to documentaries and even Hollywood films. The disappearance has sparked the imaginations of countless generations. and its unresolved nature has made it one of the most enduring unsolved mysteries in American history. In the centuries since the disappearance, Roanoke has served as a symbol of the unknown, a haunting reminder of human fragility in the face of vast, untamed wilderness. Writers, filmmakers, and historians have all drawn from the mystery, each contributing their own interpretation of what might have happened. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, writers like Sir Walter Raleigh himself romanticized the disappearance, weaving it into the fabric of colonial legend. The idea of a lost colony, vanished without a trace, taps into deep cultural fears of abandonment and the unknown. It plays into our natural curiosity about what happens when civilizations disappear from the historical record. The story has had such an impact that many people, whether they're amateur historians or casual fans of unsolved mysteries, have become obsessed with solving the puzzle. Perhaps more than anything, Roanoke's legacy is one of intrigue. It represents not just the lost settlers, but the very idea that there are stories in history we may never fully understand. Mysteries that remain hidden, waiting for us to uncover them. In recent years, there have been whispers of new clues emerging, potential breakthroughs that could finally solve the Roanoke mystery once and for all. As technology advances and more historians and archaeologists dive into the case, new findings are making some believe that we're closer than ever to understanding what truly happened to the lost colony. One of the most promising discoveries came in 2018, when a team of archaeologists discovered strange, unexplainable markings in an old tree near Roanoke Island. The markings appeared to be of European origin, possibly from the very time of the settlers. Could this be the final link to the settlers' fate? Was this a clue left behind by the colonists? Perhaps a message or an indication of where they had gone? Some theorize that this could be a form of communication, left by the settlers to direct future searchers. Another discovery that has captured attention is the unearthing of European-style metalworking tools on Croatoan Island. These artifacts suggest that at some point, English settlers may have lived there or interacted with the local Native American tribes. Some believe these tools could point to a secret relocation of the settlers, a theory that had long been dismissed. Could it be that the settlers lived on in the shadows, unnoticed by history? These discoveries have rekindled hope that we might finally have the answers, but as always, the final piece of the puzzle remains frustratingly out of reach. Despite the decades of research, the theories, the clues, and the archaeological hunts, the disappearance of the Roanoke colony remains one of history's most enduring mysteries. The settlers of Roanoke left behind more questions than answers, and their fate continues to haunt historians and enthusiasts alike. Were they wiped out by tragedy, or did they blend into the world around them, leaving behind only fragments of their story? Each new discovery seems to raise more questions than it answers. The word Croatoan still echoes through the centuries, taunting us with its simplicity and its cryptic message. The hope that one day we'll find a definitive answer keeps many searching, but after hundreds of years, it's clear that the truth may remain elusive. Roanoke's legacy, however, is far from over. It continues to captivate our imagination, fueling theories, inspiring books and documentaries, and even becoming a symbol of how human history can sometimes vanish without a trace. Perhaps it's not just the fate of the settlers that we're after, but the idea that some mysteries are too large, too complex to ever fully understand. The story of Roanoke is not just a tale of lost colonists. It's a reminder of the fragility of history, and how even the most well-documented moments can disappear into the unknown.